made me feel replaceable, like losing me meant nothing, like all the love I gave you could disappear without discussion. You made me feel replaceable, and that changed me deeply, because I loved you sincerely while you detached from me so easily. I remember how fast you moved on, how quickly your attention changed, while I was still emotionally drowning, trying to survive the pain. I kept wondering what I lacked, what made me forgettable somehow, why someone I gave everything to could stop choosing me so easily now. And those thoughts destroyed my confidence quietly. You made me feel replaceable, that's what hurts today, like I was emotionally temporary, even when I begged you to stay. You made me feel replaceable, and now I know some people make promises forever without meaning them emotionally though. And I believe those promises completely. I started questioning my worth, questioning what was real, because heartbreak becomes dangerous when it attacks the way you feel about yourself deeply. I stopped recognizing confidence inside my own reflection, because emotional rejection changes your whole perception. And I'm still rebuilding from that damage. You made me feel replaceable, but I'm learning slowly now the right love won't make someone question their emotional value somehow. You make me feel replaceable, and maybe that's your loss too, because real love becomes rare when someone loves honestly like I loved you. And I know my love was honest. If this feels familiar, please remember this. Being left behind emotionally does not reduce your worth. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to believe in myself again emotionally. You made me feel replaceable, but I won't stay broken forever. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly. That's why it hurt so much. I watched your love disappear little by little, while still trying to hold us. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly, and I noticed everything. The colder replies, the emotional distancing. At first I blamed stress, thought maybe life became hard, but slowly your attention faded, and I felt it inside my heart. You stopped asking how I felt, stopped noticing small things, like loving me became routine instead of meaning everything. And I kept pretending not to see it. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly. That's what broke me most. Not one dramatic goodbye, but becoming emotionally alone while still close. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly, and now I know heartbreak begins quietly, long before someone goes. And maybe ours started long before the ending. I remember begging for connection while you stared at your phone, trying to feel emotionally important inside conversations that felt empty and cold. I kept hoping effort could save us, kept trying harder every day. But one person cannot repair love when the other emotionally fades away. And I learned that painfully. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly, and I still carry that truth, because emotional abandonment changes the way you trust love too. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly, and maybe that's why healing feels strange. I'm not recovering from one moment, I'm recovering from months of change, and I'm still processing all of it quietly. If this feels familiar, please don't ignore the signs. Love should never feel like slowly losing someone while they're still beside you. Now I'm standing in the silence where your attention used to live emotionally. You didn't leave suddenly, you left slowly, and I felt every second of it. I started begging for your attention, and I hated who I became, waiting all day for one small message, just to feel emotionally safe again. I started begging for your attention without realizing it first, until my whole mood depended on whether you replied or not. I remember overthinking silence like it carried hidden meaning, trying to understand emotionally why your love started feeling distant. I became anxious so easily, checking my phone repeatedly, because emotional inconsistency can slowly damage people deeply, and I was getting damaged quietly. I started begging for your attention, that's what broke my pride. I gave someone emotional control over how I felt inside. I started begging for your attention, and now I understand. Love should never make someone feel emotionally unwanted constantly again. And I felt unwanted more often than loved. I started shrinking emotionally, trying not to ask for too much, because every time I expressed my feelings, you reacted like emotional closeness was difficult for us. So I learned to stay quiet even when my heart needed reassurance badly. And honestly, emotional neglect can become psychologically exhausting slowly, and I carried that exhaustion daily. I started begging for your attention, and I'm healing from that now. Try to remember emotional confidence without depending on someone else somehow. I started begging for your attention, but I survived it too. Some heartbreak doesn't just break your heart, it It breaks your emotional security too. And I'm rebuilding mine slowly. If this feels familiar, please remember this. Healthy love should never leave you feeling emotionally desperate for basic affection. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to feel emotionally whole again tonight. I started begging for your attention, and I never wanna feel that small again. You were kinder to strangers than me, and that destroyed me quietly. I watched you give patience and softness to everyone except emotionally me. You were kinder to strangers than me, and I noticed everything. The gentle tone in your voice for others compared to the coldness you gave me. I kept wondering what changed, why love became harder for you, why the person who once protected my heart started speaking to me like I was difficult too. I watched you smile at random people with warmth I stopped receiving, and honestly, emotional neglect can feel more painful than screaming, because silence damages slowly. You were kinder to strangers than me. That's what hurt the most. I gave you emotional loyalty while feeling invisible up close. You were kinder to strangers than me, and now I know some people stop valuing love once it becomes emotionally familiar, though. And maybe that's what happened to us. I became emotionally careful, afraid to express too much, because every vulnerable conversation started feeling emotionally rushed. I missed feeling emotionally safe, missed feeling chosen naturally, because love should never feel like competing with basic humanity. And I competed emotionally every day. You were kinder to strangers than me, and I still think about it now. How someone can emotionally neglect you while claiming they still care somehow. You were kinder to strangers than me, and maybe that's why I changed too, because emotional coldness from someone you love can slowly harden you. And I felt myself hardening quietly. If this feels familiar, please remember this. The right love will never make you feel emotionally less important than strangers. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to relearn emotional softness again tonight. You were kinder to strangers than me, and I still carry the damage from it. I forgot how to live without you, and that scares me now, because everything in my daily life still emotionally leads back somehow. I forgot how to live without you after loving you too long. Now silence feels unfamiliar, and nights feel emotionally wrong. I built my whole routine around you without realizing it first. Your voice became emotional comfort, your presence became emotional worth. Now Now every empty moment feels heavier. Every quiet room feels strange, because heartbreak becomes dangerous when love rewires your emotional brain. And mine still feels connected to you. I forgot how to live without you. That's the hardest truth. I became emotionally dependent on the version of life that included you. I forgot how to live without you, and now I know some people become emotional homes before they become emotional ghosts. And I still feel haunted by both. I still reach for my phone sometimes without thinking consciously, like my heart still expects your name to emotionally rescue me automatically. And honestly, I hate that feeling, hate how attached I became, because emotional dependency can quietly consume your identity and change your whole brain. And I think it changed mine too deeply. I forgot how to live without you, but I'm learning slowly now, trying to rebuild emotional stability without needing someone else somehow. I forgot how to live without you, but maybe healing starts here when you finally admit emotionally how deeply someone affected you for years. And I'm finally admitting that honestly, if this feels familiar, please be patient with yourself. Some heartbreak feels harder because you lost emotional comfort too. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to emotionally survive another night without you. I forgot how to live without you, but I'm slowly remembering who I am again. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself, and I'm getting tired. You already seem emotionally free, while I still feel emotionally wired. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself every single day, pretending I'm emotionally okay while slowly breaking quietly this way. Nobody sees the exhaustion behind my normal face, because emotional pain learns how to hide itself inside everyday space. I still think about you constantly, even when I try not to, because some heartbreak keeps replaying emotionally, no matter what you do. And I'm exhausted from replaying us mentally. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself, that's what hurts the most. Loving someone deeply who emotionally became a ghost. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself, and now I know some people leave you emotionally drowning while they emotionally let go. And I still feel underwater from it. I wish healing happened instantly, the way people online pretend. But real heartbreak feels heavier when emotional attachment doesn't end. I still feel your absence everywhere, inside ordinary things, because love leaves emotional fingerprints on simple daily living. And I carry those fingerprints constantly. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself, but I'm trying to survive it, trying to emotionally rebuild without pretending I'm completely fine from it. I'm carrying the pain is still there. And I think I finally admitted that honestly, if this feels familiar, please be gentle with your heart. Some heartbreak becomes exhausting because you carried love sincerely from the start. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to emotionally rest tonight somehow. I'm carrying this heartbreak by myself, and I'm tired of carrying it alone. I barely recognize myself emotionally now, and honestly that scares me. The version of me before heartbreak feels emotionally far from me. I barely recognize myself emotionally now since losing you. It's like heartbreak slowly rewrote the way my whole emotional system moves. I stopped reacting naturally, stopped trusting emotional closeness, because disappointment repeated itself until numbness became emotional focus. Now I protect myself automatically before attachment grows too deep, because emotional survival feels safer than emotionally believing. And I hate how normal that became. I barely recognize myself emotionally now, and I miss who I used to be, the version who loved openly without fear constantly. I barely recognize myself emotionally now. Maybe that's real heartbreak too, not only losing someone, but emotionally losing parts of you. And I think I lost more than I realized. I stopped expecting people to stay, stopped emotionally dreaming big, because heartbreak taught me painfully how quickly emotional distance begins. Now even happiness feels temporary, even calm feels emotionally fragile, because emotional damage changes people in ways that feel invisible. And I carry invisible damage daily. I barely recognize myself emotionally now, but maybe healing starts here when you finally acknowledge emotionally how deeply pain changed your emotional atmosphere for years. I barely recognize myself emotionally now, but I'm trying slowly to. Some people survive heartbreak by emotionally becoming someone new, and maybe I'm still becoming that person now. If this feels familiar, please be patient with yourself. Heartbreak can emotionally reshape people before they fully heal themselves. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to reconnect emotionally again tonight. I barely recognize myself emotionally now, and I finally admitted it honestly. Hearing your name still ruins my night, and I wish that would stop. One small reminder of you, and suddenly my healing feels lost. Hearing your name still ruins ruins my night. Even after all this time, like my heart still reacts emotionally before my mind realizes why. I can be doing completely fine, laughing normally again. Then someone mentions you casually, and everything shifts emotionally inside my chest again. It's strange how memories work, how deeply people stay even after relationships end. Emotionally some feelings don't fade away, and I still feel yours unexpectedly. Hearing your name still ruins my night. That's the truth I hide, because emotional relapse happens instantly, even when healing seemed alright. Hearing your name still ruins my night, and now I know some heartbreak stays emotionally sleeping until small reminders wake it slowly, and your name still wakes everything inside me. I avoid places connected to us, avoid songs we used to love, because emotional triggers become dangerous when attachments still exist underneath. Emotionally enough, I hate how one small moment can emotionally change my whole day, because some heartbreak doesn't disappear, it only becomes quieter that way, and quiet pain still hurts deeply. Hearing your name still ruins my night, but maybe healing still exists, even if emotional setbacks happen during nights like this. Hearing your name still ruins my night, but I'm surviving slowly too. Some people heal emotionally while still carrying pieces of you. Maybe I'm still carrying too many pieces. If this feels familiar, please be gentle with your heart. Healing emotionally doesn't always move in straight lines. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to calm my chest again tonight. Hearing your name still ruins my night, and I'm still learning how to live with that. I miss you more than I ever admit, that's the truth I hide, because saying it out loud still makes me feel emotionally weak inside. I miss you more than I ever admit, even after all this time. Part of me still searches emotionally for traces of you inside my mind. I learned how to look okay publicly, how to smile through conversations while secretly carrying emotional longing through ordinary situations. Nobody notices heartbreak easily. When sadness becomes quiet, some people suffer emotionally without ever openly describing it, and I became one of those people slowly. I miss you more than I ever admit, especially late at night, when the world gets emotionally silent and memories return stronger inside. I miss you more than I ever admit, and now I know some people leave physically, but emotionally never fully go. And maybe you never fully left me emotionally. I still think about random moments, the little things we used to do. too, because emotional attachment survives inside memories connected to you. I hate how familiar your absence feels, how emotionally permanent it became, because heartbreak repeated long enough can emotionally reshape your whole brain. And mine still feels shaped by you tonight. I miss you more than I ever admit, but maybe honesty heals too. Maybe emotional recovery starts when you stop pretending certain feelings aren't true. I miss you more than I ever admit, and maybe that's alright. Some people heal emotionally while still missing someone every night. And maybe I'm still healing that way. If this feels familiar, please don't shame your heart. Missing someone emotionally doesn't mean you're moving backward. Now I'm standing in the silence, trying to emotionally breathe again tonight. I miss you more than I ever admit, and I finally admitted it honestly. I'll never feel the same again, and maybe that's the truth now. Too much happened between us to emotionally return somehow. We'll never feel the same again, even if we tried. Some heartbreak changes people too deeply inside. I used to dream about fixing us, about emotionally starting again. But time changed our hearts quietly while teaching us pain. Now when I think about us, I feel sadness more than hope, because emotional distance repeated long enough until it became impossible to ignore. And I finally stopped ignoring it tonight. We'll never feel the same again. That realization hurt deeply, not because love disappeared completely, but because it changed permanently. We'll never feel the same again, and now I know some relationships survive physically while emotionally letting go. And maybe ours did that slowly. I still care in certain ways, still miss parts of you, but emotional acceptance feels different from emotionally needing you. Now the memories feel softer, less emotionally sharp, like my heart finally learned how to survive without restarting the past. And maybe that's emotional growth quietly. We'll never feel the same again, but maybe healing looks like this. Not forgetting emotionally, but finally accepting what reality is. We'll never feel the same again, and maybe that's okay too. Some heartbreak teaches lessons before teaching you how to move through. And I think I'm finally moving through slowly. If this feels familiar, please trust your healing. Some endings become peaceful only after emotional acceptance begins. I'm standing in the silence, feeling emotionally calmer tonight. We'll never feel the same again. But I finally stopped fighting that truth.